Hello there everyone and welcome back to the next Rhen Var mock update video. This will be the last update before the finale, and this was pre-recorded, so you're going to hear me talking a whole bunch about how much time is left before Brickworld. Obviously that is past, so this is all pre-recorded and I get a ton of progress in this episode, so without any further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, and to start off for this episode here, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this building, and then after that I'll probably finally be able to start to work on the ice caves itself, which is something I've been looking forward to for a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and work a little bit on this building. I really like what I have so far. I just don't really know how I'm going to tie it into the ice caves with the mountain. I also kind of ran out of room over here to do what I was hoping to do. So I got to figure out a couple different solutions, but I'll go ahead and get to work on that and see what happens. Alright, a lot more work here on this building. I've added in this new side over here, and this is kind of angled a little bit. I wanted to try to make something a little more dynamic so it matched in line with these, where this one's a little more angled. So this one's angled out like this, and then I've built kind of the top kind of the similar way that I've done everywhere else here on the build. And then I've also started to do some details on the inside of the building. Ideally it'd be nice to replicate that little building on the other side over here, but I'm kind of running out of space, so I think I have to start the mountain over here. So the mountain will kind of connect into this building right here. But this is what this building is looking like so far. I think it's looking pretty cool. I've got some ideas for details on the top right there. I just have to order a couple more pieces. But the new section is kind of over here with this little area right here. And that connects to this one right here. And this building is looking pretty cool. And look at that. Here we go. I've been doing a ton of work here. Unfortunately, this is what happens when you don't leave yourself much time, as I'm not able to do as many updates as I'd like. I need to just work as hard as I can to get this thing done on time. So what I've done here is worked on the mountain. So this is where the mountain's going to be, and then behind that will be the ice caves, and that's kind of what I'll be working on next. Over there is the entrance to the ice caves. So you can kind of see here this area is all a mess now, and I've been trying to just finish as much as I can here in my free time. So here's what we've got for the actual mountain itself. Nothing too crazy, pretty simple design, kind of a similar mountain kind of rock work that I've done in the past. Just trying to get this thing done as quick as I can because I am running out of time. I put a couple of translucent blue pieces in there to kind of have some ice and just kind of break up the whites for a little bit there. And then here's the other side as well. And back here is where the ice cave will be. I'll have to cover all that filler brick up there so you don't see it. But essentially you'll be able to look in at the convention from this side right here and kind of look in and see a couple of these different ice paths and different ice caves in there. And then the biggest issue, I haven't figured out what to do on top here because I'm going to have to cover the top with something kind of like that. I could leave it open so you could see the whole thing, but I think it would look weird from that side if there was no roof, roof on this thing. It needs to be, something needs to be up there. So I don't know if I'll do more terrain work or what's going to happen. But for now, I'm fully focused on the ice caves because that's the kind of last big part of the mock. Everything else on the build is a lot of small stuff that I can do at the convention, but these ice caves need to get done. So I'm going to go ahead and start to prototype some things and show you guys what I'm coming up with. And real quick here, you also can see that I've worked a little bit more on this trench right here, and I've kind of made it connect to the rest of the battlefield in the back right there, just using some different slope pieces from trans light blue as well as white. And the trench is pretty much done now. The one thing I'm not a big of a fan of is it's just way too straight with this technique I'm doing here with kind of the groundwork right there. This trench I wasn't able to have enough time to make it like I wanted to. It's way too straight. I'd love to have it a little more angled and diagonal, but I just kind of, the way I started on it and finished it, it's not exactly the way I was hoping, but I think it looks okay. And it's just a nice little area for clone troopers to take cover and some cool minifigure poses, hopefully. And right behind that, you can see I've filled in most of the battlefield here. I've got all the spots where the cheese slopes are going to go. That's something I'll probably do at the convention because that's something I can just kind of sit down and do for a couple hours. And then I don't know if I've shown the mountain yet completed, but there it is right now. I just need to do the entrance right there. But the whole battlefield is now covered. So for the first time, you can kind of see Rhen Var in all of its glory with no really extra studs showing quite yet, except for the entrance over there. So I think we're looking pretty good. I just have to place all those cheese slopes, which will take some time and is very tedious. But for now, take a look, guys. Here's Rhen Var, and I've just got to finish up those ice caves, and then we'll be looking pretty good. And I've been working a little bit here on the back side for the ice caves, trying to figure out a design, and this is what I've come up with. Essentially using bricks and kind of these 2x5 pieces, I believe, on the outside to kind of make the walls right there. And then the bottom is a bunch of slopes and tiles, cheese slopes, plates, all sorts of things going on right there. And they're kind of curving up and up, studs as well. up to those bigger bricks. We're starting with some smaller layers and kind of building up kind of like a slope, almost like terrain that I would build, but kind of on a little bit of a larger scale in terms of how I'm spreading things out. And it's going up into the wall right there. And then the backside to cover up the filler brick will be another layer of those, which will go all the way up. And for the bottom, instead of using just gray at the bottom, I'm using some different blue colors. And you can see there's some darker ones, some lighter blue bricks on the bottom there. So that's kind of my bottom layer. And that way when you look at it, you kind of can see some depth right there, because when you look at Rhen Var, the whole thing on the ice caves is pretty much this bluish color everywhere you look. So I wanted the bottom of the ice caves to be blue instead of like a gray or clear or something like that. So I'm building all of the translucent blue on top of different layers of blue. So here we go, guys. Here's what the ice caves are looking like so far. I think they look really cool, and I'm really excited to be working on this area. It's my favorite part of the map, and I love working with trans light blue. It's so cool. So you can see what I've got going on is it kind of narrows back there. So it's going to kind of go narrow hallway kind of right there, and then it's going to expand on the other side, and then we come around to the entrance itself. So very exciting stuff going on here in the ice caves. I'm going to go ahead and work on a few other things and update you guys in a little bit. But here we go. Here is the rock work for the mountain. There's the entrance right there. And again, Brickworld, I guess at this point, is about 2 days away is when I'm leaving. So I have been really hustling, trying to finish things. The entrance is not exactly how I was hoping to do it, but here's what we've got. And then hopefully on the other side, you'll be able to look through it and see the whole entire battlefield. So that should be pretty cool. Up top, I've got some trans light blue right there sticking out, and I'll show you guys on the other side here. At the convention, I'm hoping to have a corner spot so you can look through and see all of the ice caves right there and see through the MOC. So I decided to leave it open. And here's the ice caves right now. I'm getting close to completing it right here. You kind of saw this section last time, and I've now moved on and completed this section right here. I've added in a couple more things here and there, like these little mounds, so that I can have some clones and droids taking cover behind it for the actual battle in here, and then lots of textures, so then there's kind of lots of cool things to look at and pieces of cover for the actual minifigure placements. Here's kind of the entrance I was showing you guys in the last clip. So when this is completed, and you'll be able to see all the way throughout the whole battlefield, I just need to kind of work on some of that entrance and finish a few things here and there. And I kind of have to cover up some of these walls and have it go up all the way on all those sides right there. Unfortunately, I ran out of the kind of light blue color, or the light aqua, or I think I'd use some like light azul, I think, for some of these parts. I ran out, so I'm having to switch to normal blue, which really sucks because as you can see right here, I think the wall looks best with the lighter blue shades, and I'm going to have to switch to blue, which kind of sucks. But again, when you don't leave yourself much time, this is kind of the consequence. Another thing I wish I would have had more time for was actually making some different levels to this. So like raising it up and then having it come back down and then kind of going around a corner instead of just having kind of this open area. I was kind of able to do it in this section, and I think that looks a lot better than over here. But again, when you run out of time, this is what happens. So essentially right now I'm on essentially the last leg here before I need to pack for the convention. So I need to cover up all of the filler brick that's left right there, and then kind of make a couple more layers here and there, and then we should be looking pretty close to done. And again, this is kind of as if it's carved open, so you can kind of see inside and hopefully have some really cool minifigure battles and stuff like that. And then this is another angle right here. When you look through the build, you can kind of look through here, and then you'll be able to look through the whole entire ice caves and see lots of cool minifigure stuff as well. And then that'll be blocked off once I work on that, and that's going to be the next thing I work on. But we're getting very close to completion, just a few more things to work on here, and we're getting close. All right, I leave for the convention now in a day, pretty much, so this is my last time to work on it before I've got to pack it up. Here's what I've got for the ice caves. Again, unfortunately not what I was hoping for, but I still think they turned out okay. Essentially, I've just been working up top there, trying to connect it to the mountain and give it a little bit of detail up top. But here we go. Here's the ice caves. Hopefully we'll get some cool angles when the figs are all set up of guys kind of taking cover throughout the ice caves, and you'll be able to see throughout the whole MOC, which I think will be pretty cool. But here we go. Here are the ice caves. Here's what it looks like from the front side. I've just been kind of working on connecting things up there. So there's a little bit of blue, so it kind of looks like you kind of took a piece out of the mountain and kind of are able to look into it, and that's what the ice caves are for. And at the convention kind of gives it a reason for why it's left open like this. When in reality, if I did have more time, maybe I would have put a roof on it. I'm not really too sure. Who knows? But when you don't leave yourself much time, as I've said throughout this episode, let this be a lesson to everybody to give yourself plenty of time to work on the MOC when you're building something large scale with a deadline. So hopefully you guys do like the ice cave sections. I think overall with the time crunch and constraints and everything, it turned out okay, but definitely could be a lot better. And that's pretty much the last bit of progress here for Rhen Var. And with that, guys, that is pretty much going to do it for Rhen Var here. Couple of small things here and there to work on at the convention. The main thing is filling in all these slope holes with chi slopes. That's kind of going to be the big thing I do at the convention, and then tiling off a few areas here and there, and then getting minifigures set up. So I've got lights in those rooms. I also have lights down there. I did install a couple of lights in here, so I don't know if I'll have those on in time at the convention or not, but essentially here we go, guys. Here is Rhen Var. Not a ton of episodes in this series. I apologize. This has been a hectic year trying to get everything worked out and figured out here for the MOC. So definitely not what I was envisioning for the final build, but then again, I still had a ton of fun building one of my favorite maps from Battlefront. So I hope you guys did enjoy, and the next time you see this will be at the finale, and that'll be at Brickworld with all the minifigures set up. Definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, and hopefully I'll be able to see a couple of you guys at Brickworld. This is pre-recorded, but hopefully I'll be able to see a couple of you guys there. Every year I'm able to see a few people, and it's always awesome to meet a bunch of new people and just familiar faces. And I'm very excited to get the convention, get this thing set up, and have some fun with the minifigures. So that's about it, and let's go ahead and move on to the outro. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you did enjoy. Got a ton of progress in this video, and the next time you'll see this MOC is completed with minifigures and everything in the finale video, which I filmed at Brickworld Chicago, so stay tuned for that. That should be coming very soon. And as always, leave your feedback in the comment section below. Hope you guys have a great day, and may the force be with you always.